But with the Bears playing the Minnesota Vikings here on Monday Night Football, I decided to kind of do some more research on Brian Flores. And if the Bears are going to hire a defensive-minded guy, and for me, I'd go offense. But if they are going to hire a defensive-minded guy, I'm going with Brian Flores. Just kind of get a recap. What has Brian Flores done in the NFL? Well, he's been with the Patriots. He was with the Patriots for 15 years, won 4 Super Bowls over there in New England. Started with as a linebackers coach and worked his way up, special teams. And also, he was the play caller for the 2019 Super Bowl win over the Rams. Also on that Rams staff, Shane Waldron was the pass game coordinator, quarterbacks coach. 1 win for Brian Flores, none for Shane Waldron. He eventually did get the job with the Dolphins as the head coach. He had back-to-back winning seasons, and for people that don't know, that didn't happen in Miami for a very long time back in 2021 and 2020. The last coach before Brian Flores to do that, Dave Wannstedt, in 2002, 2003. So he goes there, changes the program. Obviously, it didn't end well for Brian Flores. Him and the owner management kind of don't agree, gets fired. But he ends up with Mike Tomlin. I think a lot of Bears fans like Mike Tomlin, how he runs things. So he gets to see what it's like outside of Bill Belichick to run an organization.
It's one of Tomlin's greatest moves, too, because like the whole he's in a lawsuit. No one wants to touch the guy. Tomlin's like, screw that. I'll bring you in right here. Let me hook you up in Pittsburgh. I thought that was awesome.
And to kind of backtrack, too, because obviously there were some things in Miami that I think you can look at Brian Flores' time there. It puts a negative light on them. One, the fallout with Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep, Tua hates him.
The quarterback referred to Flores as a terrible person. And that if the Bears are going to interview Brian Flores, that needs to be discussed in an interview. Like what ended up happening there. And Flores has come out and responded and admitted that there were things that he could have done better for sure. So that needs to be talked about. And obviously the lawsuit that's going on with some of the NFL teams and the owners that he filed against them. So that's a thing that did happen in Miami, would need to be addressed if the Bears were to interview him. So talked about the Steelers, but now he's with the Vikings. And you see the defense that they play. One of the best in the NFL. There's no argument there. And I think the most impressive thing that I've seen just watching that defense, the NFL is a copycat league, right? Where teams are going to look at other teams, try to take that and implement it as their own. He's inventing new ways for players to disguise coverages, to blitz, and he's an innovator and not a copycatter like a lot of these other coaches. And his defense is unique, creative, and I think the word that best describes it is destructive. When other opposing offensive coordinators, head coaches, quarterbacks have to face it, you know exactly the kind of challenge that you're in. And what I like about, too, this defense that I think would make Brian Flores a good head coach, a good teacher, a leader of men, if the Bears, that's what they're still looking for. These players on the defense need to know how to play multiple different positions. It's not, if you're a defensive lineman, you're not just playing defensive line. At one point, you could be a linebacker. You could be in a different coverage. You could be all over the defense. So you need to be a good coach, a good teacher to get that instilled to every single one of your players. And also just being under Kevin O'Connell, you guys, new perspective on quarterback play, has had, with Tua, it didn't go maybe as well, but learned how to develop a quarterback in Minnesota. You've had Kirk Cousins, a veteran. Sam Darnold was an outcast. And then you also bring in McCarthy as a rookie. He's seen all different aspects of the quarterback position. So this second time around, when he does inevitably get an opportunity to get interviewed for a head coaching job, I think he's just going to be way better equipped to handle not only the defensive responsibilities, but be a mentor for a young quarterback like Caleb Williams. And I think a lot of those players in Minnesota, they respect a guy like Brian Flores. I think more of that needs to be had in whoever's going to be the next head coach of the Bears. And I think Brian Flores definitely brings that. So if you're looking for a defensive-minded guy, I'm going with Brian Flores.
Well, and who was Brian Flores' college teammate? Ryan Poles. So, there's some dots there. I definitely agree with the chat that, is saying, George McCaskey's never going to hire a guy that's suing the league. This is a point Adam Hogue made yesterday. Doesn't really make too much sense to me logically. Okay, like if the league hates him so much, then why would any owner hire him to be a coordinator?
Right.
Exactly.
So like that, okay, I get head coach is a bigger role, but he's still in the league. He's still employed. He's been with the Vikings and the Steelers since this lawsuit. So I don't know.
And everybody thought the Dolphins, when he was the head coach there, were going to be complete ass, and he
Back-to-back
lifted them
seasons,
up.
man.
So
again,
to everyone's point, and to your point, like I don't think it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's. I mean, would he even be a finalist? I would doubt that.
We all silly like the mayor.